Hello and welcome to today's 5 at 5. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I want to read from a very familiar story in the Bible found in Genesis 16, 1 through 6. And it says, "Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. She had a female Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, 'Behold, now the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go in to my servant. It may be that I shall obtain children by her.' And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. So after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, her servant, and gave her to Abram, her husband, as a wife. And he went in to Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. And Sarai said to Abram, 'May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave my servant to your embrace, and when she saw that she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me.' But Abram said to Sarai, 'Behold, your servant is in your power. Do to her as you please.' Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her." This is Genesis 16, 1 through 6. There are so many lessons that we can learn from this story. As we look, we can definitely feel Sarai's desperation, for she was waiting and had been waiting on God to do something for her that was her heart's desire, to be a mom. And time has gone on, and now she's gotten old. You know, so many times you hear the term, the clock is ticking. Well, she was desperate, feeling like, you know what, this isn't going to happen. So let me take matters into my own hands. And isn't that so like us? We want something so bad. And we've been waiting so long. And so because it doesn't look like God is going to answer, because it has not happened in our time, we take matters into our own hands. But God's timing is different from our timing. I mean, his ways are different from our ways. And so oftentimes we don't understand what God is doing. And so many times it seems that he's not doing anything. But the Bible makes very clear that our Lord is always working, always at work. On our behalf, even when it looks like year after year, the same thing, day after day, month after month, decade after decade, it can seem like it never, things are not changing. But I tell you, and as you know, and many of you know this story, that when we take matters into our own hands, we make a mess. Here we see Sarai, she is upset. She is, because now Hagar has something over her, and she is looking on her mistress with contempt. And so Sarai is like, I want her out of here. Now she made the decision, she made the mess, and now she's angry with her husband who listened to her, did what she said to do. She's mad at him, and she wants him to now get rid of the problem. And he says to her, do with her what you'd have, whatever you want to do. This is your servant, in your power. Do to her as you please. And so what did Sarai do? She dealt with her harshly. Sarah made a decision, messed up things because she decided not to wait. Goes to her husband, that I think is really interesting, that he did not stand and say, no, we need to wait on God. Nope. He listened to his wife. And he followed her. Something about this reminds me of Adam and Eve. It reminds me of how Eve gives this apple to Adam, and he does it. He follows. He doesn't say, hey, wait, no, the Lord said not to do this. And so here we see this dysfunction. And that's what we're looking at here is dysfunction. And so I want us to look at today and to consider, in what ways have we made a mess? Because we weren't willing to wait. We weren't willing to listen, to do it God's way. We got tired of waiting. So we went on and we got into this relationship that we knew was not maybe the right thing, but my clock is ticking. So I've got to take matters into my own hands. I'm desperate, right? And so we have to be so careful, because as we will continue reading, this is just becomes more and more and more of a tangled web of family dysfunction, but God. So one of the things that I'll leave you with is, no matter what kind of mess you've made, no matter what kind of mess I've made, God specializes in taking messes and making miracles. So be blessed and meditate on this. Confess whatever it is that you need to confess. God is able to turn things around. Remember to share this with someone, because it's not just for you. We are blessed always to be a blessing to someone else. I look forward to seeing you on the next 5 at 5.